Hello, I want to talk about what I do for speaker IDs when I'm in deposition or I am in court. I drew up a little chart here, and down here at the bottom is where I would be sitting most of the time, and I get there early enough so that when counsel walks in, I can try to put the witness on this side. It doesn't always work, but for the most part it does. By doing this, having the witness here, the answer bank, of course, is on the right side of my stereo machine. And then I have the witness, when they're talking in colloquy, I just drop in the letter I because I'm already using the answer bank for the witness, and it has always just made sense for me to put the witness in colloquy with the letter I with the answer bank. Going down the table on the left and the right side, the questioning attorney is normally going to be sitting close to the court reporter for the beginning of the deposition, and so I use SNU. And again, that's on the left side of my keyboard, and then I go down to SKWRAO, again on the left side of my keyboard for the next person sitting there in that table, and then I use the question bank AO for the next person in line. If I have any more speakers after that, I use the SNU, and I'll jump over and I'll use like the SNAOF, SNAOR, PB, etc. if necessary. Normally, with this many speakers, I'm pretty much covered for most depositions. It's rare that there's just a whole lot of attorneys in depositions. On the right side of the table, I use the I period for my first person. Normally that's the witness's attorney. And then I comma would be another person in line. And then I go I period with a letter on the left side. So if I had like a Mr. Smith down here, I would use S I period. And if I had a Mr. say Williams, I would do W I period. And by doing this I answer bank for the witness, it allows me more flexibility to define speakers with the I period, like the WI period for Mr. Williams or somebody else. Now if I'm in court, this is kind of how my courtroom is set up. The judge sits up here, I sit down over here, and I use the same concept. It doesn't matter in my courtroom if the plaintiff is on this side or the plaintiff is on this side. When I first came out, I would always have kind of the plaintiff be SNU and SKWRAO, and the defendant was always I period. But anymore, it's just easier for me to be able to look out from right here and have my left side of the keys be the left side of the table, my right side of the keys be the right side of the table. And I start inside out because that's normally how the attorneys sit in my courtroom. So I have SNU is my first speaker, and then SKWR, and then I use question bank AO. On the right side I do the same thing. I do I period and I do I comma, and then over here if there's anybody else I will start putting letters with the I period and take it from there. Now you're probably asking, well, why are you using I period? Because that is my capital letter I. Well, I use the capital letter I as I period with the asterisk. I have speaker IDs a whole lot more than I have the letter I, and so for me to have the capital I or the lowercase I with either one of these strokes, I just put the asterisk in there, and it works really well for me. It makes a lot more sense to use the stroke that's going to be a lot more common without the asterisk, and then with the letter I capped and the lowercase I when I want to finger spell, I just put the asterisk in there on either one of these and I get what I need. One thing that I don't do is I do not do double stroke for speaker IDs. I don't do SNU or I period. I used to do that back when I first started court reporting because the court reporting software wasn't able to handle the ability to translate the way it does now. And so one-stroke ID, speaker IDs for me is how I go. Because trust me, when you're going along at 200 plus words a minute, the last thing you want to do is have to hit a speaker identification twice. You don't have time to do it. You don't really need to do it. I just feel like if you just use your speaker IDs and use one stroke, then you're good to go. And I think my logic makes a lot of sense with the left side of the keyboard and the right side of the keyboard as far as how they are identified, and it works easily for me. I hope this helps and makes sense to you all. Thanks.